Hi Pisces, this is your reading for April 2019. Thanks for joining. Please make sure that you get the most out of your time with me so you're not multitasking at this time and setting aside any distractions. Focus all of your presence with me and spend a moment here while I'm shuffling to check in with your higher self and your guides. Ask them to connect to me, to my higher self, and to my guides so that we can create a feedback loop to make sure that you get really clear and precise messages that are tailored especially for you. Pisces, you have 3 5s in your reading, and you also have 3 3s in your reading. The 3 3s are in the upright position. You have them here. 3 of Wands and 3 of Swords is together here. The cards in this position reflect how you see yourself at this time. And then the 3 of Pentacles in the outcome position. So these 2 cards here are sort of suggesting to me that you may be dealing with some kind of painful experience at the moment where you might have received some communication that was a little hurtful. You might be in a position right now where you have to I feel like what this is describing here is that you received information or communication from someone, and that information is putting you in a position where you have to consider some options and think about your future, maybe in a way that you hadn't really thought about before, or that you didn't necessarily see coming, so you weren't maybe prepared for that. And that communication here is also confirmed by this Page of Swords at the heart of the reading. So these cards are here in the middle describe kind of the current situation, and these cards here are describing your current energy or your current state. So it does feel like, given that the 5 of Swords is there crossing the heart of the reading, the Page of Swords, crossed by the 5 of Swords, it feels like, and then there's this 3 of Swords here connected to that as well. So you have, I'm jumping around a little bit, but you have Ace of Swords in reverse here, 3 of Swords, 4 of Swords, 5 of Swords, and Page of Swords. So there is a little bit of an indication here that communication is at the forefront at this time, that there's communication that's coming to you, that's around, that's affecting your decision-making process, and that is also affecting your emotional state as well at this time, I feel. So coming back to these central cards here, I'm going to try not to jump around too much, but so Page of Swords at the heart of the reading, crossed by the 5 of Swords. I do feel there is communication that's around, that's currently affecting your mood, your state of being, your sense of wellness, and your decision-making process. It may be that the communication. I'm getting now, for some of you, that this communication that's affecting your mood could be a person who you work with that's kind of has a little bit of a bullying energy, a little bit aggressive. Maybe not necessarily in very obvious or evident ways. It's more like a passive-aggressive kind of feeling is what I'm getting. So you might be finding that there's some there's some hurtful energy coming towards you, or that you feel a little bit triggered and hurt by someone's behavior towards you in a way where they're being a little passive aggressive, or just like, I'm hearing slighted. So maybe you've recently discovered someone commenting about you or gossiping about you behind your back, and it came to your attention somehow. That's a specific message for someone, I feel, and that could be connected to the 5 of Pentacles as well, and the 4 of Pentacles. Sorry, 5 of Pentacles and 5 of Swords. You have the 5 of Cups here as well. So again, I said 3 3s and 3 5s in your reading. So these 3 5s here, it does feel like there's some hurt at the moment. It does feel like you're dealing with some uncomfortable feelings and some pain, right? At this time, some feelings of disappointment and loss and like emotional I'm hearing emotional depravity. So not necessarily easy energies to deal with at the moment for you Pisces. What else we have here is in the position of your environment or energy around you. There's 2 of Wands in reverse with the Temperance card in reverse. Again, there's this like repetition of a theme here where it feels like there is some, I feel like there's like influences around you or forces at play that are outside of you. So it's influences from people or situations that you are connected to, but it's a little bit removed from you in a way. That is affecting your temperament, it's affecting your mood, your sense of well-being, and it also feels like it's affecting your mental clarity. For some of you, this is about your home environment, because we have the 10 of Cups here in the reading in the position of your recent past. Some of you, this is about your work. So there's two distinct readings here of different energies. So for some people, this is a work reading. And for some people, this is a romance or home life reading regarding your personal, like kind of close relationships. And it's indicating here that, yeah, some of you are experiencing some dissonance. Is what I'm feeling. It's a dissonant energy, emotionally dissonant energy in your environment where, again, there could be people around you who are, it's a kind of gossiping energy, I feel like. So there's either in the work environment reading, I feel like there's talking behind your back or passive aggressive energy that's becoming evident, that's maybe kind of being a little bit difficult to cope with and deal with. And then on the home story, like there could be some energy of like tension. There's a tense energy. It's like this 5 of Swords is kind of feeling like there may not be actual arguing going on, but the energy that's causing the strife or the tension is about communication. But in this regard, it's not like direct, clear and honest open communication. It's more like sneaky, gossipy, behind the back communication and or passive aggressive. So it's communication that's coming through a person's body language, through energy, through non-verbal communication, and that's having an effect on your state of wellness and state of well-being. So this 5 of Cups is kind of feeling like sad, like why is this? It feels unfair. There's an unfair energy here, and this Temperance in reverse with the 2 of Wands. It feels again like there's this kind of emotional distress here, like a kind of emotional sadness that it's kind of like not sure how to cope. Like it's sort of turning you upside down a little bit. It's like your emotional state is a little bit in a little emotional turbulence. So let's see how we can kind of come through this experience and work with what we're dealing with to kind of feel empowered by it and not victimized by it. So well, one thing for sure is that this 3 of Wands here is sort of suggesting, like, if this is the experience that you're dealing with and this reading is resonating for you, the 3 of Wands here is suggesting that you it would be best to utilize this energy of this time to decide or to think about or to consider your options. Consider your options. Like, you use this time to kind of visualize and imagine and use foresight and kind of project a little bit into the future and see, like, where do you want to go? What is it that you want out of life or out of this relationship or out of this, job or whatever? Like, what is it that can you see a future in this environment? Can you see an opportunity here to create harmony by bringing a compassionate communication out into the open? Can you see a way to bring unconditional love into the situation and bring awareness into the situation? Can you see a way to address unhealthy, shadowy behavior and bring light to other people's perhaps negligent behavior or dishonest communication or sneaky attitude? Or, I feel like the energy that's being brought forward here with these cards is to say, like, you could bring an empowered energy rather than feeling like sad and victimized and emotionally disturbed by this energy. You can bring a higher mind, a higher wisdom, a higher love, a compassionate, unconditional love to the situation, to the people involved, and bring awareness to behavior that needs to be addressed, right? So rather than feel like a victim, rather than feel sad or disappointed or hurt by other people's behavior, I think this is about viewing your situation as one which can be resolved with a healing love, with like bringing this energy of the Knight of Cups has, where he can offer love and compassion and beauty and resolution to a situation to overcome this kind of like the kind of energy that wants to bind or control or negate or overpower other people. I feel like you have the ability to bring this kind of collaborative energy to the situation to help resolve and heal it and bring light. Because at the end of the day, if you are on the receiving end of someone's passive-aggressive behavior or negative talk behind their back, it's actually it's not a reflection of you, it's a reflection of them. And if you can rise up in love and compassion and wisdom, you can help shine light on their pain and help heal them and offer them unconditional love and forgiveness and resolution and compassion to help them become realized as well. So it's almost like rather than being a victim in this way, you can actually take that person's pain and kind of help transmute it and alchemize it through your awareness, through your loving wisdom and compassion and kindness. So that's a nice way to kind of transmute this energy of like, rather than being a victim of something, you can actually become a healing force in it by, as I said, shining a light on people's behavior or people's shadows and bring light to people's blind spots, which obviously they are not aware of their own, drama. If they're bringing this kind of energy to you, then there's. So let's take a look at the bottom of the deck. We have the Ten of Pentacles reversed, Seven of Cups reversed, Knight of Wands reversed, and Ace of Cups upright. Okay. So there's now 2 tens in reverse in your reading. So it could indicate for some of you that usually when there's tens reversed in a reading, it could indicate either the end of a job or the end of a relationship. So that could be some of what is going on here, what some of you are dealing with. But what I want to say here about these extended cards is that the situation that you're in, while it may not be necessarily comfortable, you can work with the energy that you're experiencing to gain clarity, to eliminate, eliminate some options that are not really what you need or want, like things that aren't a vibrational match for you. You can kind of like gain clarity and understand through the situation that it's not for you, and you can move on and go into other things, other areas, other relationships, other work, whatever. But I think what's important to remember here is that if you are in a situation where there's conflict, there is moments in life where you have to decide, you need to choose, like, am I gonna just walk away from this because it's not for me and I don't feel like I need to continue to put myself in a position where I'm under stress and under tension and experiencing anxiety when I don't really need to? Or is this a moment for me to really step up and rise up in love and compassion and help to heal a situation, to help bring light to and bring awareness to areas where there is like unawareness or where there's a blind spot? And can I rise up in unconditional love and compassion and kindness to help heal a situation rather than avoid putting in any work and just walking away from something? So this is a moment where you need to make a decision about that. That's what these 2 cards down here are. Like there's no right or wrong, but like there's always obviously a higher road to take, and sometimes putting in a little bit more effort and a little bit of work to help resolve a situation is the best possible outcome, even though it might put you in a space where there's a little bit of difficulty or uncomfortability. But it's important to remember that discernment is using your wisdom and awareness and foresight to know the difference. Like, is this a situation where your input can actually make a difference, or are you in a situation where you're dealing with people who may not be able to receive the type of heightened communication that you want to bring to a situation? So it's up to you to know the difference there. The point I'm making is that it's not always that easy to just walk away. It's not that, and that may not be the highest road either. Just walking away from a difficult situation. There's a line, between understanding whether or not you're in a situation that you don't need to be in and it's a reflection of your self-worth, or is this an opportunity for you to help heal and resolve a situation and some difficulties for more people than just you. Okay, especially if we're talking about a family situation. It's not like, you know, a casual friendship with someone you've known for a little while and all of a sudden they start acting weird and talking behind your back and you're like, okay, peace out, I don't need this person. Or are we talking about like real relationships that have had a lot of time put into them and a lot of experiences been shared, and it's not necessarily the cool thing to do, just be like, see ya. So make the choice there. Use discernment to make the choice. You have the moon as well at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, there is definitely like some shadow work going on here. There's some clarity being brought, like information being brought to light that needs to be resolved and healed through kind communication is what I feel. Now let's take a look at the Voyager deck, and we're going to shuffle again to give a higher octave reading. The Voyager deck and the higher octave reading is designed to give a little more insight into what's happening on a karmic and spiritual level, and will hopefully provide a little more understanding of what energies we're working with and how to make the most out of the opportunity that we're facing at this time. So while I shuffle, please take a moment here to tune in again with me, tune in with the deck, and send your energy over into the cards so that I can get really clear messages for you. Ace of Cups reverse. So you had the Ace of Cups here in the extended cards, and here it is showing up at the heart of your reading, but this time in reverse. Let's take a look. Crossed by the Emperor, Man of Cups, the Hierophant, Woman of Cups reversed, the Devil again, this time in reverse, Fortune, that's Wheel of Fortune, and Death. Wow, a lot of major arcana cards here. Ten of Wands upright, Ten of Crystals upright. So now you've had 2 tens in each reading. Child of Worlds reverse, 7 of Worlds, 4 of Crystals in reverse, and 7 of Crystals in reverse as well. Okay, Pisces, this is really interesting cards here. This is it feels like a rather different reading than on the first spread, but it would appear that for some of you, like what I'm getting here, the first impression of these cards here is that there is a turn of events happening where it may feel difficult and you may feel constrained a little bit by your circumstances. You may feel like you're dealing with difficult people and there is some difficult conversations happening, or, as I said in the previous reading, some passive-aggressive energy where you're feeling like people are communicating but not with words. You're getting non-verbal communication. So what it says here, or what I feel is here, is that there is a turn of events here. Like, look, you've got Death in reverse with the Hierophant and the Wheel of Fortune. And then at the center of the reading, you have the Emperor in reverse. So Emperor and Hierophant together, and then Devil's play again. So there's definitely energy here about, how shall I say that? There is a turn of events happening, and it is one which kind of there is an indication here that there could be some big changes coming in as far as like transitioning away from people who may have been seeking to control, or I'm hearing contrived. So you may be dealing with people who are inauthentic, a little bit fake, a bit kind of pretentious, even having some kind of power trip, whether this is a boss or a partner or friend circle, or you know, there's indications here that there's it could be one person, or it could be a circumstance, it could be multiple people, but there's something here about a movement away from kind of constraining factors, and moving into spaces and a state of being which is a little bit more liberated. So there's a sense of like a sigh of relief, But it's not happening on its own. What it says here is that it's going to be up to you to make some rather discerning and strategic movements to alter your situation in a way that improves your current state of affairs. So again, not necessarily easy, but the indicator here is to move towards joy, is to move towards freedom, is to move towards fun, I feel like there's been a lot of, how should I say that? Again, it's this energy of constraint, of restriction, of limitation, of like pressure, a little bit oppressive. There's a bit of an oppressive energy. And seeing the devil come out in reverse in this reading now compared to the previous reading where it was upright does feel to me like there is a movement away from this kind of like constraining, tight, restrictive, dependent energy, and one that which moves more towards freedom and fun and release and enjoyment. It's the Man of Cups crowning the card. It's called Surfer. So this is about enjoyment. And coming into the reading in this position, this card comes is the energy you're bringing into the spread. You have the Woman of Cups in reverse, and the Woman of Cups is called Rejoicer. So you're moving from this position of Rejoicer, reverse, so like not joyful feeling. You had also Ace of Cups at the heart of the reading, Ecstasy also in reverse. So coming from this stance, from this position where you may not be feeling so joyful or having that much fun or feeling that buoyant. And this card is kind of leading you in the direction you need to go, which is the Man of Cups upright, which is definitely one more towards satisfaction and emotional fulfillment and a sense of buoyancy and liberation and open-hearted kind of freedom. So yeah, the Emperor and the Hierophant here are both kind of giving me this feeling like you could be dealing either with a person or a situation which is a little like, again, pressure, domineering, like overbearing energy, constraint, and a little oppressive kind of feeling. And your energy is wanting to go towards, again, a sense of like shifting the direction, like fortune, the Wheel of Fortune card, number 10 from the Major Arcana. So now you have 10 here again, so 2 10s there, 2 10s in the previous reading. It does indicate like a culmination or a turning point where I feel like you have reached a point where you are at the limit of what you will tolerate of a certain situation, and you are the one that's generating this turning of the wheel and a shifting of your direction. That's why I said earlier, like this is the change that you're on the cusp of is not a change that will be generated by external circumstances or other people. It's up to you to make this change. It's up to you to make a decision, to use discernment, to have clarity, to make the choice to have certain conversations, to bring certain elements into a situation through your activation of your energy field, to create an impression on others using your compassion and wisdom and love and kindness as a reflection of how you feel about yourself, right? Like if you're in a situation where you are feeling that like oppressive energy or domineering energy, you're there because you're allowing it. You're not a victim of anything. You're allowing it because you stay there. Now I'm talking about you making the decision to use wisdom and compassion, not just for other people, but for yourself too, to say like, I don't fit this frequency. This doesn't suit my vibration. It's not where I want to exist. I'm going to transition and I'm going to communicate how I feel in compassionate and kind ways to reflect to myself that I'm self-loving, I'm self-caring, I'm generating the environment that I want to be in, I'm generating the relationships I want to be in based upon an adjustment of my frequency, a recalibration of my energy field to put myself in a position where I can attract and draw to me the kinds of relationships and people that I want to be around me as influencers. Okay, this is about you generating a shift, you generating a change. And it comes down to honesty. We have the 7 of crystals here in this position in reverse. So this is saying to me that this is about you moving away, moving on by eliminating dishonesty, by eliminating mistruths, and by eliminating mismatched frequencies like I've just described there. So Death here in the reverse with the 4 of crystals. This is about you, again, like breaking out of a kind of stasis where you may have been existing in a certain kind of frequency, in a certain kind of mode of being with certain people, out of kind of comfort, but maybe also laziness for not actually having the fortitude or the strength or the willingness to generate this change that we're seeing here now. But it's saying here that you are on the verge, you are on the cusp of that. But it's about like rising up out of awareness, rising up out of a sleepy kind of hypnotic state, that's the 4 of crystals, to generate a transition, to create transference, to create transmutation, to create transition. Right? It's up to you. And it's, again, it's like this, here you have the 10 of Worlds and the 7 of Worlds in the hopes and views position. Your growth is only limited by your unwillingness to rise up in awareness. So this is about you making a breakthrough and making decisions to open to love, to open to heightened understandings, to open to wisdom, to open to clarity, by using discernment, by using courage, by overcoming any kind of self-imposed limitation that keeps you in this environment where you are under the oppressive energy of other people. Okay, rising up in clarity, overcoming delusion, overcoming victimhood, overcoming the sleepy, you know, stasis of kind of being just where you are and going through the motions every day. It's up to you to kind of like shake that off and find a way to break through into awareness, into action, into movement, activating your fire and overcoming just a sort of comfort, a lazy comfort that you might have been existing in, even though it hasn't necessarily been comfortable or easy. This is now you're kind of getting this drive or this push from your guides, from your higher self, to say it's up to you to like rise up and move, make the energy move by your own willingness to communicate different things in different ways to people, using discernment, using compassion, using wisdom. We've said all those things a few times now. So bottom of the deck, 5 of Wands, Child of Crystals reversed, Child of Cups upright, and the Lovers. And there's also the Star. I'm going to take that too. What I feel is here is that this is describing what I've just already explained about like that oppressive energy of feeling bound and restricted and limited by overbearing people or circumstances that feel like power and authority is outside of you. Reclaiming that, rising up in like a feeling of empowerment, in strength, in an activated kind of willingness, like an opening. That's what I feel like. What are the cards that get jumping out at me now is these images of these kind of floral kind of openings and explosions. It's like you need to dig deep to kind of activate and fire up an upwelling or a pure, like just pure uprising of energy to kind of like burst forth with this. And now you have 3 of the pages in your reading, which are your children in this deck. So Child of Worlds, Child of Crystals, and Child of Cups. So these are saying to me, this is about like, there is a lot here about communication, and it's communication that needs to be initiated by you. I feel like in the past you may have just been behaving too passively, and that's what some of this overbearing, domineering energy is if you just are passive, then people just will step in. It's like, it's the law of correspondence, right? Like yin and yang. So if you're being passive, then that's giving space for someone to be oppressive and overbearing upon you. So this is about you coming into awareness about that and rising up into your own harmony of your own internal balance of masculine and feminine, of receptive and active, and harmonizing your own energy field to kind of make changes in your environment, your external environment, by having more awareness over your own mechanism and operating it a little bit better rather than just leaving it on autopilot. It's about you taking a bit more charge here. And the final card here is the Star. I love this. The Lovers and the Star together. So whether or not this is about other people or relationship or whatever, the story here is about your own union with yourself, coming into a greater awareness of your own capabilities, your own possibilities, and harmonizing, as I said, your energy field and balancing the masculine and feminine, balancing the receptive and the active. And the Star card is there as like a little... how do I say that? Encouragement from your spirit guides to say like there is a lot of celestial energy supporting and guiding you in this process of like you're evolving and changing, and that you can reach out, like, you know how I said in the beginning of the reading, to kind of connect with your guides and higher self. That's something that you can do every day, and you ought to do every day, is like practice fortifying and firming up that connection you have with with your higher self, with your guides, to kind of connect to greater love and wisdom, to connect to greater awareness and consciousness, to kind of operate from that place rather than from like your sort of lower earthly realm of ego and fear and limitation. So work more with that energy of like connecting to a higher wisdom, knowing that it is part of you, it's not outside of you. Just keep working on strengthening that connection of communication so you can get that guidance direct. And in all things, of course, always be honest. Be honest with yourself, be honest with the people around you. don't fake it till you make it. Just be honest all the time. Okay? I feel that's your reading, Pisces. I'm just going to check over here and make sure I haven't missed anything. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found something useful in there that you can work with. It's an honor and a pleasure to read for you. I hope that you have time to watch that again now, because there was a lot of information in there. And I would suggest also that you review it again towards the end of the month to just kind of collect any extra nuggets that were there that you might have missed the first time. After events unfold, you might find that there's things in here that didn't make sense at all before, but later on will be very, very helpful and clarifying. So thanks again for your time, and I look forward to seeing you in next month's reading.